to order. And before we begin tonight's meeting, I would just like to ask everyone to join me in a moment of silence to honor the memory of Charlie Kirk, as well as to keep his family, friends, and loved ones in our thoughts and prayers following the tragic events that happened, the tragic political violence that happened yesterday. So if you join me in that. Thank you. Okay, and we will proceed then with a roll call. McKee here. Lanterman?
Here.
Friedrich?
Present.
Barenkamp?
Here.
Nichols?
Here.
Perfect. Give me 1 second to find the main sheet I was looking for. No, it's one thing I put somewhere that I can't find. That's fine. Okay, we'll move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd like to stand and join me. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There we go. Okay, agenda approval. Looks like there's a couple changes from the initial agenda, but revised for today. So any other changes from staff?
No other changes since it was revised on September 9th.
Which was just removing 7A, I believe.
That's correct.
Okay. And anything from council? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended from the initial version or as presented in today's copy.
So moved. Nichols.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, no presentations today, and then we will move on to open forum, in which I believe we have at least a card.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is the opportunity when anyone in the audience who would like to address something that is not on the agenda has an opportunity to present to council. They won't provide feedback. This is an opportunity to share your concerns or thoughts. Ask that you state your name and your address for the record. We have 2 cards today,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor. First up would be Mr. Ravi Kumaravel.
Thank you.
Please, you may.
Sure. If you could start with your name and address, that'd be great.
Thank you.
And Jay, did you go over the 5 minutes?
I did not, yes. So that you're limited to 5 minutes of comment. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the time. My name is Ravi Kumaravel. We reside at 16415 60% North, Plymouth, Minnesota 58246. The reason we are here is we bought a property at Walcott Lane. The address is 6276 Walcott, Blacksburg Drive, and we signed a contract in May. And at the time, we bought it as an investment property, and they said we are well within the limits of the number of licenses that can be issued. So they gave us earnest deposit, and it's about to be closed in October. And then last week, or last 1 week, we got a note from them stating that the number of licenses exceeded. The reason is some people who bought it as a primary resident or something, I do not know the full detail. Initially, they were sharing a little bit of information and then they stopped sharing and converted it to the rental property and bought the licenses and did not let the HOA know. Again, I'm giving the paraphrasing the information that I got, and because they haven't given me anything in writing, I'm just giving you the hearsay information. So I asked them, what's the remedy? They said nothing. You take the contract and rescind the contract and take the money and go back. I said, I followed all the procedures that I'm supposed to follow. And what is there any remedy for that? They said, talk to the city person. And I believe he spoke to it right over the phone. And obviously his hands are tied given the property zoning and all those things. So the next remedy was they said, come back and talk to you at the council meeting and express your concern. So that's why we are here. So a couple of things, what we felt as had happened. One, someone didn't go to the HOA and get a proper permission and came back and asked for a license within the city. The second one, what Pulte is offering is, because of the way that it is zoned, there are some single family homes and other and that council needs to approve. So not knowing what the right way to do, so we just have to come and ask you for your guidance and counsel for us.
Gotcha, thank you. And generally, we kind of take this in, we have staff kind of take some notes and answer questions if possible then, or if not, follow up. Council have any further information they'd like to get or clarification on anything, or otherwise, staff, did you get enough information to dig into that?
We do, Mr. Mayor. We've been aware of the challenge, and this isn't, we're kind of limited in how we can respond. So by zoning, 13% of a particular street can be available for rental property. That was determined by council, I forget how long ago. And to the speaker's point, if people come in, the only way that we're made aware that that's of an interest to someone is when they come in to apply for the rental permit. That's the only control, or and so having not received a rental permit yet, we can't issue one. And so when someone, what the HOA is telling someone, we don't have any control over that in terms of them saying what's available or not available. And so by the time the speaker got here, the 13% was already accounted for on that street.
Yeah, I'll just make a quick correction, 15%.
15%, thank
In
you.
this scenario, I don't think it makes a difference, the
Yes.
number of units allowed within the block, but yeah, it's 15% of the
15,
block
thanks, Dwight.
is the maximum amount of rental licenses issued for a particular block of residential homes.
Can I ask a question? It looks like we have quite a few applications from Walcott. Have any of the Lennar Tavera townhomes applied for rental licenses?
Yep,
Are they
so
full too?
right now, all of the rental blocks that contain townhomes in both Walcott Glen and Tavera are at capacity.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
But as far as the process, just want to reiterate what the HOA is communicating to homeowners about what's available or not available. Really, in terms of what's available or not available, is determined by when someone
Yeah.
applies and when we reach capacity.
For people who are in the process of trying to acquire a property, I assume they can't apply until they actually get title. Is that correct?
Correct.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I definitely respect city's process in terms of restricting the number of blocks. I think that's the right thing to do, to kind of have a fair balance between the residents and the residents. Where the process is kind of going along, the way that I observe at this moment, as you rightly said, sir, we can't apply for the licenses until we kind of close. And if you bought the property, in between, if somebody comes and applies for it, then it's negate this thing. And as an investor, it's kind of difficult to do the business not knowing who controls what. This is where it's kind of making it difficult. So there has to be some kind of coordination between the city and the HOA before they kind of issuing the license, at least to make sure the numbers are right. So that way, there's the proper checks and balances for everybody, so that we don't end up in the situation. Also, our request is, if there's any consideration for us, because we are already in contract and all these things, and we truly wanted to have this property, and personally, near and dear to her, even though we have like 5 or 6 rental properties, this one, she wanted to have it as a special thing, because eventually we want to move down as a primary home once the kids go to college, and that's also the reason we kind of chose this one. I really appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. I think it's something maybe we can look into, and I'm not sure what options we have in terms of potentially changing anything, or the issue that you brought up about the timing of when licenses are you're able to get a license after closing. I don't know if that's something that's done differently elsewhere. I would imagine that's pretty standard for this type of.
So Mr. Mayor, what we could do, I believe before it was written, there was some analysis in terms of how it was practiced in other cities. And so we tried to adopt best practice. As far as the timing and the communication, we can look into it, but I don't know how, in terms of accountability, we don't have accountability for what and when the HOA communicates to potential home buyers. And we've certainly experienced that in other developing neighborhoods in which the HOA is not accepting accountability for the misinformation that they're putting out, and they're actually assigning the city responsibility when the city, outside of, responding when we receive a request, we don't really have a way, we're not mind readers.
Right.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Just a quick question. If, and Dwight, you probably are able to answer this, if I were to come to a neighborhood and want to buy a property and want to turn it into a rental, we go online to our website, we have a rental ordinance, it's right there. Even though I don't own that property, if I were to come to the city and ask questions about rental property in that specific neighborhood, would I still be able to get the information, and would the city be able to share saying that neighborhood is already at capacity, there's no new rentals available?
Yep, so our rental license inventory is public information,
Okay,
and
yeah.
if anyone wants to inquire on it, we're happy to provide that information.
Good job, thank you.
Is it public in the sense that it's actively posted, like on the website, or it's available for questions?
Yep, so we have an interactive map, and I believe that might be the exhibit that you guys have
Okay.
today. And we try to update it as frequently as we can. Sometimes other things come up, so it might not be fully up to date. So we do have a disclaimer on there that if you have questions on it, to
Yeah.
contact. I believe it's my email that's on there. So.
And I'm asking
Thank you,
the
Doc.
question because I looked, so it's cool. Thanks.
Can I add one final?
Sure. And then we got
Yes, that information is public. In fact, I printed this one out from the public information. And the HOA is still owned and operated by the builder. So when we bought it, they said it was available, and still they are operated by the builder because 78% is not built out. So somewhere, some kind of finger pointing is going on, right? I understand that we need to sort that out because they're kind of in the middle. My only request to the council is, however the resolution on my personal situation as a future investor coming into the city, right? Please make sure the process is tightened up so that we don't end up in this situation.
appreciate the feedback.
I'm hoping for a good resolution, maybe an exception for us, but at least as an investor, I should have confidence and I put the money in that I can follow the process. And one more piece of information, then I'll keep quiet. The HOA does not take an application until the house is closed. So we thought we cannot apply for the licenses until the thing is closed. Probably information was available, and that's where the understanding. And we have now given an application in good faith, hoping that something can happen. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
so, to me, this seems like a civil matter between you and the HOA, correct?
Certainly, sir.
So then what role do we have in this,
No, you don't have probably any role in actually holding somebody accountable.
right?
I was here hoping for, there's some discrepancy happen, if I can possibly get an exception for the license is what I was hoping for. I'm going to resolve this with the builder as a civil matter, you're absolutely right. Because what I learned is, the HOA trumps the city licensing process. So now, the builder owns the HOA, they have culpability in this one.
Okay,
And I think bringing the other part to our attention.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have one other card for Mr. Nate Kiernini.
Okay.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Nate Carini, 20795 Corcoran Road. Is it best if I use my 5 minutes, just if I be very detailed, or can I give an overview and see if there's any opportunity to provide the best information?
It's your discretion, sir.
Okay. So this is in regards to an outlot at the intersection of County Road 10 and County Road 19, just west of Ellerly Lane, where we developed a 9-lot, kind of large acreage lot residential subdivision. And, but more specifically, in regards to the resolution that was passed by council on Outlot A, and I believe that the 2 bullet points from the resolution are that there will be a trail easement, for future connection to the parks and planning commission's concept And then, secondly, it refers to a mown trail. So, as and I've, learned quite a bit about, the intricacies of easements and I guess, future planning for trails. I've been going back and forth with Kevin and, also Stan Tech has been out on site, because I really was having a hard time understanding, exactly what the specifications of this trail should look like. And, actually it's caused some delays in our process in wrapping up. So, when I finally got out there with Kevin, there were a number of new issues that really came to light, and I'll just start with, the fact that there's a large natural resource area. At one point, when we were talking about this trail, the idea was that because it's not actually going to be a trail in use, like a proper trail, we would try to minimize, the number of trees that we need to take down in going through this natural resource area. And, I guess what I was envisioning is the mowing trail like I've got in my backyard. I'm on Larkin, I got a little push mower, I got trails going all over the place. And, my kids like to run around out there. Well, as Kevin raised a really good point, if you've got a trail like that, what do you do about maintaining, for example, flooding issues? I owned that land for many years before I sold it. There's gigantic ponds that come, in the spring especially, where the farmer he has to take responsibility for it right now. As soon as I stick a pipe in that ground, as soon as I start diverting water, and I would actually extend that to the city as well, I'm wondering who's going to be able to get equipment back there to clear that flooding and, prevent, not only does it create a safety issue potentially, I mean, imagine kids on e-bikes and snowmobiles racing up and down this trail in the winter. About the only people that wouldn't really be able to use this trail concept are probably, and it says this right in the staff report, it's not going to accommodate strollers, bicycles, it's not, people that are, mobily, have a difficult time navigating trails. So I'm imagining the young folks of Corcoran, that they're probably gonna be using it. But you've got flooding issues, you've got the access coming up on County Road 10. So very originally, I believe that County Road 10 connection was intended for a future trail. Someday there will be probably trails coming down County Road 10 that would connect up to this trail easement. So what I'm asking is that if the council and staff would consider deferring the improvements on the outlot to the time at which that outlot is developed. And I do believe at a point in time that was the intention, but obviously what gets translated into law and into specifications is what carries the day. So there's one other aspect of this, and it's not just a cost thing, it's actually a practicality thing. In order to do that trail right, Kevin described that you basically need probably like a 20-foot wide, I mean, you need to cut a swath through this woods and through these floodplains and the farmer's field and all that. The problem is, as soon as you start mowing down crops, now the farmer's gonna stop maintaining that. You're gonna start to get weeds. How do you mark the trail? Right now, you go look out at that outlot, it looks like a cemetery out there, all the signs that I posted out all over that property. And now you're gonna be posting more signs going through to mark, where the trail easement is supposed to be. And, I just don't think.
Hold on one second, I'll make a motion to give Mr. Karaniemi another couple minutes.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. But I'll just try to wrap up to say that, I think there's some considerable safety concerns here, safety and liability. I don't want to be responsible for misdirecting water, because I know there's some neighboring cities that have had issues with, as soon as you put a pipe in the ground, there's some liability, and who's going to maintain it. Secondly, there's the fact that the farmer's doing a great job out there. He's got his crops coming up, he sprays for weeds. As soon as I mow a trail through there, it's gonna start producing weeds, and it's gonna be difficult to maintain. And third, just the practicality and the timing of the fact that you're gonna be able to kind of redo this easement. You can make this easement wider if you want, you can make it go around. There's this huge tree line that would, all the way from 19 all the way across the field, that would have to be order to, to create a 20-foot wide easement. And I'm just thinking for what purpose? You're really not, the tax-paying citizens of this city are not really gonna benefit from it. And I'm not even sure how to clear all these large mature trees within the easement that's currently there. So I think from a timing standpoint, you'll have a better crack at it when this outlot develops. There's some safety and liability issues coming out on County Road 10 that I'm concerned about. And then, of course, there's the signage that I just don't want to put more signs out there. I've got so many signs out in that field, it looks kind of silly, actually.
Just a quick clarification, when you say deferring it to when that outlet develops, that's a separately owned parcel now, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you really can't, I think if you were gonna do the trail properly, like I got this new vision after being out there with Kevin, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's what maybe a trail should look like. You'd probably have to bump all those easements, maybe another 20, 40 feet on either side to really be able to accommodate that. At the time that outlot develops, obviously the city would have, a lot of discretion to make a plan with more specs rather than just describing a trail easement and a mowing path, which I don't think are practical at this time.
Okay. Staff's got some stuff maybe we can follow up on.
Yeah, we can follow up, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yes, please.
And I mean no disrespect or anything, but we had a agreement for these outlots, this whole area, which included the trail, whether it be current or future, by that landowner, which is obviously standing in front of us. And how do we defer that to the next property owner? The next property owner is still there, but the agreement to this whole area, if I'm wrong, Kevin, tell me, is set for that moment in time and such. And how do we do that? And I'm gonna refer over to Gleason Farms. They have the same thing. They have a development around their property. I believe all properties have been purchased and they're doing the same thing. They have a trail easement along a creek bed, a drainage ditch, whatever we call it nowadays. And they're still held accountable even though property owners have bought the properties and such. The original owner of that property is still responsible to put that trail in. Yes or no? Or did I ask too many questions in too long
I
sentences?
don't think you can answer yes or no to that, because I think you had two questions in there. It's difficult to, you can't defer like this trail cost, like to the outlaw owner now, right? So this
Right.
trail agreement and condition was part of the development contract between the city and Mr. Karanimi.
Right.
So it's part of that development, so it would be a legal conversation about what options there were. If he's proposing a deferment, it would somehow have to be attached to that development contract. We couldn't place it on another property owner, so that's.
And then the farmer right now that's doing it is obviously renting from the new owner and stuff, so that's nothing, but I thought the delineation and everything was set.
Yes, that
That-
easement was was submitted to us before with plat recording.
Yep.
So the alignment was set with plat recording, so before the development started, that easement alignment was selected. It was based on following the floodplain and the wetland buffer, so it's a very irregular natural trail.
But it wasn't in the floodplain when the
There's
conversations
parts
were
of it
set.
where, that's why it was
Parts were.
chosen as a natural trail.
Okay. And
And so
then
it
it
was
was,
assumed that sometimes during high water, it may not be accessible.
I remember that, but again, we aren't going to, it needs to be mown, it would maybe be wood chipped, but
That was kind of left to
No more
discretion in
than
the
that.
report, and that's what we've been trying to figure out, and we have some solutions there. I don't think that's the current sticking point, whether it's wood chips or mown.
Yep.
It's more of the alignment and the tree removals, but again, those were all set in stone when the
Yep.
development.
And then when we were talking about it, we already have a current trail, the Three Rivers Trail, which is tarred along the road, correct?
Along 19.
Along 19.
On the west side.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
And
nothing
then-
currently adjacent to 10,
This was
Mhm.
still,
but there
we had
is setback.
conversations about it would hook up to that trail, so to speak, and it would be a trail to nowhere until more development happened out that general area.
It was an acknowledged natural
So it
trail
was,
that may not be used at all
It was
times.
very clear during the agreements and everything else, so, okay.
That was supposed to be a constructed natural trail.
Yep.
Correct.
By what time?
Just with, it didn't have a condition, I don't.
So actually, it did have a condition. It was to be constructed by working with the city public works director on the final location with the outlot A.
Okay.
And that meeting is what happened, or what occurred 3 weeks ago.
Would the trail connect to the Three Rivers Trail on 19?
Yes.
Yes.
So there will be access to it from that more significant public trail. Somebody could bike and then walk, or,
You could theoretically go one way and not come back if you wanted to. It would be a long dead end. Or you could get out on 19 shoulder.
And then along 10, if you were to head
10
east,
Yeah.
It heads towards the Birchville School. So that would be a possibility to connect with the school. We would have to work with the property owner to the west in order to get to the trailhead that's on 10. So that regional trailhead is right there on the corner of
Yep.
19 and 10.
This is all stuff that was talked about when he owned that property and such. It's set, there's escrow, there's all of those things. I'm in my mind, I feel it needs to be executed, but to push it out for a longer term and stuff with everything we're trying to do with trails in our city, we are doing everything we can to get trails that don't impede good land, I should say, doesn't impede land that is an open space or anything, but along the creek beds. That's been our plan for long before I even got up here. So it's just my input on this whole thing. So I appreciate you working with the easement owner now, not the property owner, right? Okay.
Correct,
You're
yes.
Still on
So
the
we're
hook
technically
for-
the easement owner. The easement's in the city's name, but there's the obligation of the developer to
But the
construct the
obligation
trail.
from the previous owner / developer. Thanks.
once it's constructed, my recollection is the city would be mowing the trail on an ongoing basis to keep it clear. Is that correct?
Yes, it would be a public city natural trail once it's
Yep.
accepted from the developer, correct?
Okay. Can you talk a little bit, Kevin, about the number and size of trees that have to get removed in order for the trail to be usable? I imagine we want to keep as many of them as we can, but I'm not sure how forested it is.
So there's some sections that aren't forested, so I would say the north half are kind of fringe, low-quality trees, if no trees at all. There's a section where it goes through what I would call fairly thick woods. So we'd literally have to cut 20 feet path just to be able to construct the trail and maintain it and get access. And then it just follows the tree line as it heads kind of east-west as it connects to 19, and that's like a farm tree line. It would basically take out the tree line. There are some significant trees there, primarily dying ash trees. So when you look at the tree, in my opinion, as a non-forester, when you look at any tree concerns, it would be kind of through the woods thicket, but the trail would like literally cut right through the woods, so it wouldn't necessarily open up any view issues in my mind. It would be like a natural trail through woods.
How long is that section?
Oh,
That
a
If-
quarter
if-
of the whole trail? I don't know.
Could I make one request, Mr. Mayor? So since open forum, we're not
Yeah.
supposed to be staffing
Yep,
this,
sure.
could I please bring a staff report back on the 25th? We have this information available,
Thank you.
but us going from the fly trying to
Thanks.
provide
Yep.
data isn't.
Could I ask just one question? And correct me if I'm wrong, it seems to me, if I'm hearing you correctly, Kevin, there was already an agreement in place. Both sides understood the terms, and this seems to me to be a request for a do-over. Am I incorrect in that?
It's correct that it was identified as a condition when the development got approved and recorded.
Okay, and how long ago was that?
Do you have the date? Feels like 3
years
or
ago,
3 or
yeah.
4 years ago.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Can I make one last comment? I'm coming to you today, I'm genuinely, just from a practical standpoint, I don't know how to fell all these heavy trees on a 20-foot wide easement. It's a really substantial, it's that entire southern section of tree line. So it's not, I'm not trying to do an end run around the city, any of that. I'm just looking for I think Kevin's words were something like this: well, why don't you come back with a proposal? And I just thought, I don't know what exactly I would propose to do. So whatever the consideration, and there's consideration is the term, and I think you're driving at.
Have you reached out to the property owner of the The outlot to
New landowner that-
maybe acquiring a temporary easement?
Well, that is an option. I don't know how practical that would be.
Can I ask one clarifying question? So when the agreement came in and you understood the easement was there and the trail had to be constructed, those trees existed, how were you thinking about it then?
Well, see, again, that's why I mentioned, to me, a Mullen Trail, I was envisioning something completely different. I thought we were literally talking about a Mullen Trail, like.
But even a Moen Trail would have to have these trees removed. How were you thinking about doing that?
No, not at all. You could, I mean, now, to be able to access it and safely to bring equipment back there, that's completely outside of the scope of what I imagine a Mullen Trail to be. And just for a little bit of more context, I've done similar, my parents, we just did a subdivision with an easement like this, and it's an island, it's not connected to a trail. There's nothing, the farmer is there mowing his crops, so in terms of precedent, what I was anticipating was something similar to what we had just completed over on Rolling Hills Road. And I realize now that maybe we're viewing that as a different type of trail easement, but.
Mr. Mayor, Jay, you said we've got this stuff. What I remember of this whole trail was it was going to be a certain distance wide in the agreement and everything else, and not to have the entire property anymore and still responsible for this trail. I'm saying it's not our issue, but you'll bring back the report.
I'll bring something back on the 25th.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nate.
Thank you.
We have no other comment cards, Mr.
Okay.
Mayor.
Anyone else for open forum? No, then we'll move on to consent agenda, which consists of items 6A through 6I. Does anyone, oh, thank you, have a good one.
Thank you.
Does anyone want to pull anything?
I do.
Mark?
6C?
6C, anyone else?
No, I'll hold my stuff until, council reports and stuff, but I agree with 6C. I'd like to have a conversation
Okay.
too about that.
Anyone else on anything else? No? Jeremy?
No.
Okay. Sounds good. Then I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items A, B, and D through I.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then item C was pulled by Mark and Dean. If we want to start with Mark and then go to Dean.
Sure.
And then we can go to.
I don't know what the catalyst for putting this together was. I have an idea. But to me, this seems like a solution searching for a problem. I think that, this makes about as much sense as having a policy stating that we can park in the parking lot. And it seems to be a policy for the sake of a policy. So I for one, I don't support it. And I would go so far as to make a motion to deny it.
Okay, are you making that motion?
I am making that motion.
Is there a second on that motion?
I'd like to have more of a conversation.
Okay.
So,
So,
Go ahead.
I would say you can either second it for conversation, then we can vote on it, or it fails due to lack of a second, and then we can discuss it,
I'll be
whatever.
quiet then.
No, whichever path it is. I'm not trying to influence you one way or another.
I
Just
know.
trying to think of the
I'll be
both
quiet.
options, yeah, okay. Okay, is there a second? Okay, then that dies for lack of a second. Dean, did you want to?
Yeah, while I understand the direction Mark is going and such, I want to understand also why it was created, okay? And it may come back to, and if I'm speaking out of line and stuff, it may come back to, we had been talking about our new city park being named Heritage Park for nearly 9.5 months. And we made the determination we would do that. Parks shortly before we had that meeting, sent an email talking about possible names of city park and stuff, none of them which I believe were part of the direction we were going. Heritage Park was our farming community, what Corcoran was about, those kind of things, and I think we made a good decision to continue and finalize and name it Heritage Park. But to turn it into a 3 or 4 month debate, how much would that have affected us to be able to not start construction because we had talked about Heritage Park all along? So that's my quick out of the soapbox and stuff like that. I do like the documentation in this draft related to naming, other than the timelines. But again, I can come all the way back to an ordinance is a mute point when I think I count in 3 different places, and please correct me if I'm wrong, in this document, 5 or 6 page document, when I read it, it comes back to the naming is a recommendation of the council. The council has final say on those things. I like the relationship we had with our volunteer committees, the planning department, the planning commission, and then the parks, park and trails volunteers and such. We've got a new city park coming in or coming online. Let's send it back to them to talk about naming and those kind of things. There's a lot of stuff written in here, and I can go back to recent changes of park namings in Minneapolis and stuff because of people that were the way they were, but parks and lakes and stuff were named what they were for years, and now all of a sudden we're changing that. I do like there's a short blurb, I think on page 4, towards the end of page 4, into page 5, that mentions that about if a change needs to happen, but in my mind, I think that is a common sense deal and a discussion for the city council and the mayor to have that discussion and such. But I'm saying all of this because I want your guys' input.
Gotcha, for sure. Jeremy or Michelle, and actually one thing I might jump in with, because I think you touched on it, maybe you did as well, Mark, and JCB, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think maybe some of this, some of the language and provisions might be newer, and maybe stem from the Heritage Park naming issue, but there's definitely some of it that predates that, quite a bit of it.
I would love to give background if I can.
Sure.
Please.
So, to be honest, this conversation dates all the way back to 2018, where Recreation Coordinator Christian Simbach wrote a staff report regarding park naming, and that was related to Wildflower Park.
Okay.
We ran into a similar issue of like, how do we get to the end point of naming a park? Many cities surrounding and otherwise have park naming policies for that purpose. Not necessarily to say, no, you cannot name it this, but more so like, here's the process to get to naming that park. Because otherwise, we run into this issue of, I mean, truthfully, I don't think the Parks and Trails Commission had it presented to them prior to that meeting. So that was genuinely one of the first times, unless they had been listening to council meetings specifically, where you guys had just touched on it. I don't know that it was an agenda item at council prior to that either. So I think they just felt a little taken aback by going, oh, okay, we're naming the park. So I think this kind of establishes a precedence of like, here is the process that we would follow. And there's still a lot of flexibility in there as well for like, if you guys didn't like the name that they chose, at the end of the day, it is your discretion. And that is very, very clear. And as far as the timeline is concerned, I was kind of thinking it through. If we find out that we're going to develop a park, I would envision that the process for naming said park would happen simultaneously, so that 3 to 4 months that might seem like too much time is actually in coordination with the planning of the park, so that we can be naming it either after the amenities that are in there or the natural features that are nearby or what have you. And as far as the Heritage Park being the catalyst, I don't feel like that's entirely true.
Okay,
They had this discussion in May of '24, June of '24, July of '25, and then in 2018 prior to that. I think we're really just trying to define what that policy would look like and what that process is to name a park. Otherwise, we sit here with people who have donations for specific amenities, and in this scenario, we have someone interested who wants to donate towards Heritage Park's playground.
Yep.
But I have no means to bring it forward to you. I don't know how to present that. I don't know what the next steps are. So this kind of helps define what does that look like, how can we bring it forward, and then from there, if we are doing engagement, what does it look like? And again, you would have final say on that as well. But Parks and Trails would be a recommendation. And so they would, not to make it sound so awful, but they would do kind of the heavy lifting is the vision, I guess, that I have, and then they would bring a recommendation to you that you can either choose to go with or audible, if that's the choice.
How is that different from now?
How would you like me to bring it forward if not the way that it's listed in here, I guess would be
I
my
have a
question.
potential solution to that, but,
I mean, if there's a process, I'd be happy to follow it, and if there's something that you want changed in it, I think from the Community Development Department and Parks and Rec specifically, we're looking for some sort of like process to follow so that we know how to bring it forward and when that process would start, as far as if we're developing a park, does it start right off the bat, or are we waiting until it's fully developed? Like, there's a lot of caveats that go along with that, and we're a very lean staff, so as much,
Yeah.
I know policies seem redundant sometimes, but it really does help give us something to fall back on. Go
I
ahead.
think it's also helpful as we're considering allowing donations for specific parts of parks in lieu of some kind of honorary statement. This gives you some context for those conversations with potential donors. So if you're talking with the JCs about sponsoring a new ball field, these would be the expectations. It's not going to be the JC field for 500 years. It'll be for 15 years till the ball field wears out. And these are the kinds of names we can consider. I think it's helpful to have that as part of the framework that staff can use when having those discussions.
I would agree, and I think that kind of touches on what Dean said, but that there's, and correct me if I'm misunderstanding you, Dean, but that there are some provisions that seem to make sense, but there's others that seem to maybe be changed in process that we don't like or you don't like, and I think I agree with you on the one you mentioned. But there are maybe some other
Yeah.
aspects, like Jeremy was saying, potentially, or other things that in here that aren't necessarily something we want to throw out, so.
and again, Mr. Mayor, great, well said, I want everybody's input on this.
Yeah.
How did we arrive at a park that had play equipment, that was a tractor, a silo look, all of that stuff? That's the stuff we were talking about, and we started talking Heritage Park almost at the beginning, and to have the thoughts or issues related to like, well, wait a minute, we didn't get to make a recommendation for a name. It was already there. We had talked about it as the previous council members. I mean, you were here, I was here, Jeremy was here, John and Alan were the other ones. We went down the road, picked this, Park and Trails went after it. You guys have all found some really cool equipment, and it is Heritage Park. So that's why I brought it up. Again, some of this stuff, this is a good start. I think you said that, JCB, it gives you some direction and such. I just want to make sure that in the future, whether I'm up here or not, it's still up to the council and the mayor to make the final determination on naming. The concerns related to who's going to do the research and judging on if somebody says we want to donate money in this person's name and then ask for naming part of the park or putting up a plaque, those kind of things. Who's going to manage that? Is that Park and Trail still? Out of all of this, what's your vision on that?
My vision would be, well, we do have a caveat in there that generally the person would be deceased for a specified amount of time
I saw that.
to help kind of air out any, for all intents and purposes, dirty laundry that may not come to light until then. Beyond that, I would envision it'd be me and then maybe the Parks and Trails Commission.
Making
Again, I'd like to see them do
making
some of the heavy lifting.
recommendations and stuff, yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah,
So to that point too, we have Meister Field, we have Schneider Field, we have Kevin Dale's Press Box, and we have Lions Field. Is that, if I got them all right? Is there
Mhm.
any other ones that are identified or named or anything?
Meister,
I
Schneider, Lions,
Thought I said
and
Meister, Schneider,
the
Kevin
Press
Dale,
Box.
and
Yep,
those are the 4 right now, and they will stay that way until,
that is the intention unless I'm told otherwise by the city council.
okay.
Yeah, nothing.
As you hold the power to change that.
And I brought up the Meister Field issue when Meister Field was renovated. The sign never ended up back up. Are we ever going to get that? Or are we waiting?
My understanding is that we have acquired the sign, I don't know if it got installed yet.
Okay, I don't know if installation has occurred, but we actually have
a new sign.
We got it.
new signs for all 3 of those fields, because the other 2 fields were also in disrepair.
Okay,
So the Lions
sense to get
field was at the end of its useful life, and Schneider was as well.
so those will get up and, or,
Schneider has it on the scoreboard, you know, so
Yep.
that looks a little bit different, but the 3 of them have similar design, echoing back to what the design looked like before, as part of a maintenance life cycle replacement.
that naming is set on those. Everything else is open season, so to speak. And this would help you be able to manage it and such. But
So
again,
process-wise, I would want to clarify a couple things, and so just like council approved the donation process, in which we're taking donations through the website, or what is the right
See
nomenclature?
my legacy?
See My Legacy. If someone were to come in, we would work with Mr. Thames, if a significant donor wants to come in, to make sure that we've legally clarified for expectation management. That's been my past experience for major donors on fields too. So while we've provided in policy some things, but procedurally, by unique circumstances, there will still be things that are appropriate for us to do to protect the city into perpetuity.
So again, all of this stuff is just the timing of what happened to Heritage Park, stuff like that. It's just a coincidence, but you've been asking since 2018.
Yes, I think
Okay.
the optics with it are what are kind of throwing people
All
a
right.
little bit, and
Please, with that, and I can help us get to the end sooner unless somebody wants to say something. With that, please let Parks know we appreciate each and every one of them, their input and everything. I would love to see them show up if there's something that they really feel passionate about, such as this. It would be neat to be able to have that conversation with a representative and stuff if they have. We aren't making anybody do those, we aren't forcing that like we had
Anymore.
before. We
And
do-
They're still welcome and encouraged to.
Please
Absolutely.
let them know to please come to us. The least I want is hard feelings and stuff. And with that, if there's no other,
Could I make one
Comments and
comment,
stuff, please.
Councilmember Kim? So time-wise, just as my recollection, one of the things that I wanted to point out is process-wise, I was new to the city, coming from a park development background. We had just selected HKGI, and we were starting the process. And so the name Heritage Park came out at a Parks and Trails Commission meeting when we were talking about the concept of what would happen with the playground and stuff. So at that time, we had a draft that looks way different than where we landed. And so there was a lot of kicking around of ideas, and it got traction and some momentum and enthusiasm in that. And that enthusiasm shaped the design
Yep.
of the building. So if you remember, we had big barn type, we were looking at different barn designs and
Yep.
talking about all the different types of barns in the city to try and catch some of the architectural character and capture that. And then also trying to, I brought in and that actually was on the agenda, brought in a picture of all of these agriculturally themed playgrounds from across the country as inspiration
Yep.
towards that. So I just wanted to, for those who might be watching, to be aware of that. That started soon after I got here. It might have been in December of 2023, but at the very least, it was like January or February. And it caught momentum pretty quickly. So in terms of a naming, one of the things that I think might be helpful, the character and the design of the park, having a design rallying theme, probably felt different to some folks than actually landing that as the naming of it.
Okay.
that could have been the case.
There was
But-
also
but
some
recognizing
turnover on the
that-
commission.
Yeah,
So
there was
summarizing-
change of folks. So I just want to acknowledge that there were people that changed out. What wasn't in question was celebrating the agricultural heritage
Yeah.
per the vision, mission, vision, and values of the city. That wasn't in question. And heritage agricultural heritage was a rallying
Yep.
concept. But the naming, I can understand how that may have gotten lost in the process, that some people had adopted it and understood that that's what it was, and some people might have appropriated that as an idea
Good point.
to happen later.
So to summarize that, it was all Jay's fault. And with that,
Hold on one second, we do have another,
I'd
Mark
make
had
a
his hand up, and then
recommendation
Michelle,
when
if you
you're
had
ready.
anything.
So Jessica, you did a nice job. You changed my mind, so I'm gonna withdraw my motion to deny, and I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, do we have a second on that?
second,
Any further discussion? And Michelle, if you had anything.
No, I was a part of
Didn't mean to
this,
skip
when
over
this,
you.
no, that's okay,
Okay.
when I was on the Parks and Trails Commission, so I think this is a wonderful idea. I think it's a great resource to have for Parks and Trails.
Okay. And then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
again, apologies, JCB, but please let the folks know. We appreciate it.
Alrighty, thank you. Good discussion. Moving on, we have no planning items after the change in the agenda, no unfinished business. Next is new business, 9A, which is the Birchville School Charitable Gambling Fund request. Say that 5 times fast. And so I don't know who's taking the lead on that. and I-
That would be Mr. Mayor.
Perfect.
So just to summarize, we have this treasure in the community that is continuing to be protected. It's one of the few, if not it's the only one in Hennepin County. I frankly had not been inside it until Summerfest. I wasn't able to make it there this year. I went there for Summerfest. It's pretty neat. We have one like that where I grew up. And the city also, I want to acknowledge, has made significant investment in order to protect that amenity, partnering with the North Hennepin Historical Society to the tune of $108,000. And so I just wanted to acknowledge
Over the
that.
last 2 years.
So the first one came in 2016, that was $6,000.
Okay,
And
so it's
and
been
then
a
in the last year, all the rest came in 2024 of $102,000.
Good.
15,000 in February, 15,000 in July. And they came forward with 3 requests in late September of last year. And there was a discussion at that time to phase them out. And council at that time decided, rather than paying for roof repairs this year and cabin roof and shed removal that next year and the chimney replacement, decided to actually give them all the full cost of all of those expenses at once of $72,000. And so that's, it was $102,000 in 2024 and $6,000 in 2016. I would remind council that these are charitable gambling. We have restrictions in terms of how those funds can be used. It was included in the packet. One of the things after we get some feedback and direction from council about how to address this request, staff would also request some direction in how to proceed with handling or coming forward with proposals for future expenditures for those funds. Because to date, to my knowledge, it's only been the Birchville School. Present balance is roughly about $241,000. Exactly what we get each year varies from year to year, anywhere between $20,000 and $40,000 on average, depending on how that goes. And having some clear direction towards the future would be helpful. So that's the tail end. But the present request is $13,000 to repair siding that's been damaged and to paint the building.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
can I make a motion to approve funds in the amount of $13,000 to repair the siding?
Sure, and if you don't mind, if I could just check, Bonnie, did you want to speak on anything, or?
I think you pretty much covered it, and then I talked 2 weeks ago, so
Okay,
I'm.
just wanted to double check.
Yeah.
I do have some questions.
So,
And I do too.
again, we can either.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. Any further discussion?
I'll let Mark
Mark,
go
go.
first.
You, Mr. Tobin, you mentioned Summerfest. How much money does Summerfest bring in?
I will allow Bonnie to, could you come up to the microphone and
Okay.
respond to that question, please?
Sure.
Please state your name and your address for the record.
Okay, my name is Bonnie Molly. I live at 7450 Calp Road in Corcoran for 40 years now. And my request is for the $13,000 to finish off the exterior of the school. Now, I forgot what your question was.
Sure, my question is, how much money does Summerfest bring in?
We can bring anywhere between $3,000 to $4,000. We used to be able to bring in more when our food wagon was an alumni, and he donated all the profits from that. Well, he retired. After 25 years, he got tired of providing all the pork chops. So now we don't get that funds. But we've been very fortunate the last 2 years to make around $4,000, a little bit over sometimes. It just depends. We've had more and more alumni contact us and donating money, which helps take care of the electricity, the mowing, any other outside maintenance problems that we have. So with that, and our insurance, that's the highest one, it's paying for our insurance on the property. And it's basically just liability insurance in case anything should happen on the property. So we can pretty much cover all of those things. It's going beyond that. That it took us, I think, 4 years to be able to save up $9,000 just to put concrete down underneath by one of the 90-year-old ladies going and hitting all her relatives. And we were able to finally get this concrete covered for $9,000 underneath the pavilion. But I'd like to go forward even farther than that and see if we can get someone in the summer for kids camps, bring the children to the school, going out to the schools and getting more kids in. They need to experience that. And so if we can take care of the exterior to make sure we're good, then we shouldn't have any problem bringing them in. Also thinking about, sometime we need to get security and have something out there so we don't have any problems with anybody trying to break in. That's something that the Stork House in Rockford just put in 2 years ago now, and we've never had that in Rockford before either. So, I mean, there's other things coming to protect it, but also we want to open it
Sure.
and have the kids come forward.
So my concern is this, I think it was maybe a year and a half ago, I think you were here, and then Councilman Bodema had some questions, and he had asked, is this, it was a request for, I think, $100,000.
And that's probably the 72,000.
What, 72, okay.
Yeah.
But a significant amount of money.
Yeah.
And he had asked, is this it? Is this the end? Is this all, or are we gonna keep coming back to the well? And I was here and I heard you say, no, this is it.
Well, I thought it was.
And now you're coming back to the well.
Yeah.
So I'm just,
And I'm hoping the well's done now. I think we can sustain as we are when this is completed. And if anything else should come up, we're just gonna have to start putting out letters to alumni and community to say, we need your help, we can't do it alone. And it's happening this year. We got about $5,000 just in donations coming in. So I know it can happen. If Summerfest doesn't happen anymore, we can still reach out to those that are, because they're still living in the area. So.
is there a reason why you haven't reached out to them for this amount?
I have, and that's why we've gotten what we did. I got, this year, I have reached out, sent out letters, appeal letters to everybody. It's also, we could probably do less than 13, but to cover what we have to do, I think this will be secure, so that we can go forward with some in our pocket, so then we can not have to come back, is what I'm hoping.
Okay,
Because
so,
I don't want it to be a year.
so this is for a repair and some
It's repainting.
Painting.
some,
Repainting and
some
repairing.
buffer.
There's
It's
Oh,
paint- it's
painting and then,
Yeah, scraping.
then some
and painting.
leftover.
Yeah, the leftovers that I thought we would be fine, and then when you go and look at it, we're not fine. It's all chipping off.
Just, they've been, they started working on it last Monday.
Yes.
I mean, they've been going to town and they are replacing some of the siding, but it's gotta be replaced with the same type of pine and everything.
I told him to go ahead with it.
He's
because
going.
I said the weather's good now, and if I wait to hear from you,
Yep,
it's gonna be winter. And then we'll have to wait, and then we'll have raw, siding exposed, and I figured it'd be more damage then, we'd have more boards to replace. So,
and in my mind, and Mark, to your point too, I think I would ask, is this it? Is there anything else? Do you see anything else? And
I'm
Bonnie
hoping the last
said
one-
exactly that, nope, this is it. And I'm like, it was, I believe it was red, and when was it painted was part of the conversation too. It was changed to white because that was the original color, I remember you
then
telling
putting
me.
it on the National Register of
Yeah,
Historic
so I
Sites.
mean, they've been doing an awesome job for a bunch of folks that need more volunteers, as everybody does around here.
They've gone
and,
around 30-some years with no help,
Yep,
and just chugging along and taking care of it themselves.
But
And
if we
a lot of
wouldn't
things
have-
have been kind of delayed because of that.
if we wouldn't have helped with that money,
It-
the school would have been in dire needs. The new roof looks beautiful, the bell tower is outstanding, the chimney is in place. It is an historical piece. It would be nice if we could maybe get Three Rivers interested in doing
Where can we go?
some
Your programs
joint and
there.
stuff like that, just, there's, there's
So
future
it's been
stuff, so-
proposed to the planner on multiple occasions, and we were gonna be discussing it, when they come back for, if you recall, they're gonna be doing a regional park search area.
Yep.
Now, we don't have the acreage surrounding the school that would make it an attractive,
Yeah, it's just an acre.
attractive site inclusively, but it might be, cause we were just talking about the trail that Mr. Kiarimi was to. So there's currently easement that could come off of that trail and make it to the school. And if we were to, desire to, we could work with the property owner potentially to connect the school and the trail to that trailhead that's right on the corner.
Could be a destination
It
with
could be.
everything else, yep.
So
So then-
that would be a way that could attract Three Rivers to it. We've started the conversation, but it's in the wrong spot in the planning cycle,
Yep.
so.
So then
We'll
too,
keep on.
just some of the other things that I was thinking about too, Bonnie, you brought that up, is insurance is liability insurance is it, because if something happens to this property, how do you replace historical things? And then I had been thinking quietly to myself of a security system, those kind of things. Right now, not much of a lock on the doors, and the glass is old school glass and everything else, but that, it can just morph into something really, really big, but,
I'm happy to help you suggest, I can suggest some, like ring type security stuff that's relatively easy. I think most of us probably have it at home.
right.
That would be awesome, yeah,
Um,
no suggestions.
That you can kind of customize yourself and not too expensive, to kind of have some cameras, sensors for glass breaks, type of stuff like that. I'm happy to talk with you and give you some, suggestions.
And then last thing, Summerfest happens every year, try to get there,
Yeah, it's fun.
please, it is.
Great event.
The mayor has won door prizes the last 2 years, because they've had
That's
to bring
3
them to him, the city
I did.
administrator,
My wife was very happy
won a
with
plant.
her tropical plant that
I won a
currently
couple
resides
of,
in our
I
backyard.
won a couple of Domino's pizzas, I lost out on that,
Do you want to add anything, Jeremy?
it's great stuff.
Just another fundraising opportunity might be, it's very picturesque there.
Mm.
A lot of people like to take fall family photos. You might want to like arrange a photographer and maybe charge people to come in and get their photo taken by the school or the environment around it. Just as another way to get people interested in the
We
site.
have people that have stopped by and took pictures without permission, and that we didn't know they had been there for their weddings, but, yeah. so
But
that
yeah,
was
you could
another
probably
one.
find a way to monetize some of that.
Mhm, mhm. We have so many.
Beautiful site. And I know Michelle had some
We
issues
can
with
do so we can pull in our finances, not by having the city help us. So that's our goal.
Gotcha.
I would like to see us be able to spend some of the charitable gambling on other things.
Yes, and I'm gonna bring that up after.
Well, and I was just gonna add, there's only specific things that charitable gambling can cover.
Yep.
So I feel like our school is one of the only, like, historical monuments we have in Corcoran. So I think it's beneficial that the city can utilize gambling funds to assist with different repairs and maintenance. And to say that this is the last maintenance item you're gonna have on the school that's not realistic. I mean, there's going to be other things that come up, and I think that you should continue to come to the council and ask for assistance, because I think it's an important part of our community, and it's the last schoolhouse in
catch.
how many miles? Like, what is the nearest other schoolhouse like that
It's really the
schoolhouse?
only one in the state that's open.
I know there's one in Brooklyn Center, I know there's one in Isanti.
But they're not open like you are they?
Right.
I know of the 3. That's all I know in the state of Minnesota.
Yeah, there's not very many.
Yeah.
In fact, we were one of 5 that Doug Orman put in his, it was a Lakeland PBS special
Yeah.
on
Yeah, I saw that.
schools up in Minnesota, and we were one that he put in the video.
Very cool.
Wasn't there a book too? I want to say there's a book with the school in it as
Remember the
well.
book, too,
Yeah.
Painted Red.
Yeah, so I fully support any maintenance projects. I think it's a good way to use gambling funds, and it benefits so many kids in our school districts.
And I don't want to say I'll never come back, but I hope I will never come back, because I'd rather not. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. So we did have a motion and a second on there. Is there anything else discussion-wise? The motion was to fund the 13,000
Yes.
request? Okay. Oh.
Did we get itemized information on what we've already spent and then itemized information? No, I'm talking from the school on the entirety was spent, we got the bill, or we just paid the bill, do you know what I'm saying? And
So the reason we don't do that
Okay,
is because when we give it away as funds, we then trust that they are going to be good stewards of
I
the
agree.
funds. Yeah.
I just, for public, just so everybody
So
understands.
we do not audit them.
Okay.
They don't submit invoices to us. We write them a check and trust that they will be good stewards of what they've been entrusted with.
That was
And
the
then we
only
see it
thing.
as evidence in the new chimney, the new roof.
That was the only other thing that I had in the back of my mind that I just remembered, so,
Sounds good.
thank you.
All right. and with
You
that-
are trusted.
With that, I will call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed?
Opposed.
4-1. All righty. And then, in the sake of time, I'd like to propose something for, as Jay had mentioned, the uses, or looking at some of the additional uses we could do with these funds, as we have still pretty substantial sum in there, and as Jay mentioned, about 20-40K-ish coming in per year. I had been I went down a rabbit hole and came up with a couple ideas that I think might really be worth looking into more, and maybe synergize well with a couple projects we have going on and upcoming with the city that could really, I think, add a lot of value. So if council's okay with it, what I would like to do is maybe make a motion to direct staff and I to put together a couple ideas that Jay and I have been bouncing off of each other in a more presentable format, bring it back to a future council meeting, and then we can have discussions on if you guys like it, if you want something else, some other ideas, change it.
Based off of the rules related to
Yes,
this
yep, and it's all
stuff.
based off
Yep,
of,
I like it.
all based off of the rules, off of 2 or 3 of them.
Could we include an idea, do some sort of art project or art something in the city
Sure.
within that? Because that is one of the uses for the gambling funds, would be a specific art.
Yeah, I will make a note of that, and,
One other thing too,
Yeah.
when I was reading, parks could benefit as far as baseball, soccer, those kind of things, isn't that, do we take any money out of it now for parks and stuff? So
Can.
put that on your list,
that's on the list.
please, if it already was, that was the big one,
It's definitely on the list.
we have no or little backing from our school districts that we're in to help with park stuff.
They wouldn't have any money for that.
I'm just
No
saying,
funding.
everybody else has, you go to Maple Grove, they've got plenty of parks, and
Yep.
many of the parks are
I think you'll
associated with the
like what
elementary
I'm
schools,
putting
middle
together.
schools, everything. Good. I like
So,
it.
if that's okay, I will make that motion then for, me and staff to work together, and Jay and staff and I to work together on, putting that together, and bringing it back at a future meeting, kinda at Jay's discretion as when it fits best on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Perfect.
Does that require a motion?
He's making one.
Yeah, making one, I don't know if
I'll-
it
I'll
requires
vote
or not,
for it, but
but- Okay.
I don't know if you need it.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
You made the motion, didn't you? Or did I make the
You
motion?
made
I made the motion, you seconded it. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, and with that, Jay, do we have any staff reports?
On a personal note, my wife finished radiation therapy. So, I will not be in the office tomorrow. We're headed to the woods.
Good. Give her our best.
And I hope, as I replied to your deal, I hope nothing but better days going forward.
will
I
be.
hope it works. It'll be a long time to know, but
Thank you.
it's a big deal.
I saw the picture, ringing the bell, and she looked pretty happy.
If you heard her, she was laughing. She was just, it was awesome.
Every day for how long it's been?
So this part has been 6 weeks after a long unknown, so.
Hopefully
Congrats.
the worst is
Thank
behind.
you. So nothing else from staff.
Okay. And council updates, I just had, or reports, updates, whatever. I have a couple, things that are pretty obvious. Let's see here. Bark in the Park is tomorrow at 3 to 6 at Heritage Park, but it's not where it was last year. It's on the County Road 10 side, that
Park
First
between
parking
Schneider
lot.
and Meister.
Yes,
Yeah, you'll
yep.
see a giant sign that tells you
Already
to
up.
pull into that lot.
So if you can make that, if you just want to be around pups, or if you have a pup and, or several,
If you wanna
Or
dress
wanna
up
see
as
a
a pup?
canine demonstration at 5?
are we doing that too?
Yep, we've got two
Very nice.
presentations, one at 4 to learn how to be the alpha, and then one at 5, which is gonna be our canine.
I think Jay's bruise just healed, so.
I will not be bit tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I
I'm out
gotta
of
just
town.
volunteer.
You hope you won't.
Can I nominate somebody to be bit?
Is it you?
Too funny. So there's that tomorrow. Other upcoming events, St. Thomas has a groundbreaking ceremony that's coming up. Just wanted to shout that out because it's,
Sunday, September 21st.
yep,
Big deal, 11:30,
yes.
very big deal.
Did
for them.
council did you guys get an
I
invite?
will be there.
Perfect, I'll be there as well. Looking forward to it.
Is there anybody, do we need to do a public notice?
Sounds like you have 3.
I won't be there.
Oh, you
I'll be there. You'll be there?
Okay.
Be there. So just you, a meeting. So it should be good. If that changes, let staff know. But should be fun. I was excited to see that coming so quickly. I feel like every time they present something, it's like, whoa, that's a lot sooner than I thought it would
Yeah,
be.
it's
So
really good.
I'm excited
Excited
for
to
that
see it come
building. It
together.
looks gorgeous what they're gonna do, so that should be great. And then, obviously at our next meeting, or prior to our next meeting, we have our water treatment groundbreaking ceremony. So for council, that's here,
I will send you an email with the details. I don't want to put it
fair enough.
out right now.
Do we need to reply or send an RSVP
I'm
like the card
presuming that you're
said?
going to be there.
Presuming council, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The card is for other potential guests.
Yep.
Okay,
We've gotten a few RSVPs. I think some of the senators and House reps that we've invited, I think maybe 1 or 2 might make it, and some will be in DC, and maybe we'll send a chief of staff or someone on their staff
Sounds great.
in their stead. And then I think we should have our state reps, I believe. Should-
It'll be details explaining where you need to be and what time.
cool.
Great, and with that, does anyone else have anything?
I've got a list I'll try and run through as quick as possible. How's that?
Sounds good.
I've gotten phone calls related to construction time on Heritage Park. They're beeping, honking, moving equipment and stuff before the 7 a.m. start time. I've asked the people to call and issue a concern. They won't, so they call me. So that was number 1. Number 2, Heather Lane Construction, Heather Meadows, if that's what it's called. Somebody dropped off a huge piece of equipment between 3 and 4 a.m. this morning. I got a call. And then I got 2 two other calls from the neighbors upset about construction. I wanted to confirm, Kevin, once this is done, if Heather Lane needs an overlay or repair, it will happen related to this construction?
Yeah, we
equipment?
documented the road condition before, and we'll document it after, and if there's something, then we'll have to.
Okay, and that's what I've told these people, or even at council meetings, I ask those questions, I just wanna make sure that hadn't changed yet, so I appreciate that very much. I'm almost done. A few weeks ago, I talked about, and I don't know if I put it on public record, a crosswalk. It was shortly after, Night to Unite, Robert Lane and Stieg Road. Those neighbors to the north are concerned because there's paths to the road but no crosswalk there. And it was nice if their concern was related to their new neighbors to the south in Bellwether and Emerly and such. Those folks are crossing the road and walking through their neighborhood, which they have no issue with. But a crosswalk there, I don't know if that was put on record or anything, but I did have folks asking about that on Night to Unite. Thank you very much for the time spent cleaning up the yard around the water treatment and the water tower.
It was a contractor, but we've been on them, but the contractor technically did that, but we.
Please thank them.
Thank you for yelling at them and thank them for
I
that.
was going to bring it up as far as one of the payment plans, there was seeding and stuff, and when I drove by today, everything was cleaned up. Actually, I drove by a couple of days ago and things were done, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I don't know who to direct the people to on the noise and stuff and early construction over at Heather Lane. They said they called the non-emergency number, an officer called back, but said there was nothing he could do because it was a public road. But construction times, those kind of things need to be monitored, so I don't know who was on, they didn't tell me who was on, it was this morning. But if we could get that cleared up and straightened up, I'd appreciate no early calls in the morning. And then the last thing, and Jay, I talked to you about this, the emails from Mama G's, specifically Greg Olson. It looks like he is engaged now in some recent emails that you've had with him related to, but the one email that I did have, I shared with you, Jay, and if you guys want me to read it after a number of conversations with him, I can, because it's basically saying none of us or city staff, which I assume would include police and such, would be allowed on the property. Do you want me to read it quick? I'll read it in his words specifically. Dean, I guess you don't understand. I was hoping one positive thing could happen in my 25 years of dealing with the city of Corcoran. Not a chance, not a surprise as well. Guess I want to let you know you and your city members are no longer welcome at Mama G's establishment. I will put a formal no trespass in the mail. Regards, Greg Olson, Mama G's. I had worked with him or talked with him about he had sent us all emails. Don't know if you guys have received them, but nobody has responded, and I'm the only one that has responded, is what he's saying. He continually writes, we ran Quick Trip out of town. I asked him to specifically stop doing that because we passed that on with the biggest stipulation that probably changed it was the hours of operation from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or 10 p.m. I told him he needed to contact staff related to a occupancy number in his building, and it was related to.
I believe he has.
He has said that, again, I said we do not regulate the number of pull tab boxes, electronic pull tabs, those kind of things. That is a state deal. But he still keeps coming back to us, and it looks like, Jay, you copied us on emails and such, that you're working, and he looks happy, but that's not the emails I got, as I shared them with you directly last week when I got that. But do I need to ask, are we allowed there? Are we back in good grace? I know, Michelle, you play volleyball there and such. I know our staff spends time there sometimes. And then do police respond, since it would be no trespassing, is that a different case? I'm not pleased, because it has not been polite, and all of a sudden I see emails when I get here that you've been doing them. I don't know why my tablet didn't update, but everything looks like there's no issues anymore, so.
So, Mr. Mayor, of the exchange, I did provide an update related to his questions about occupancy. The one that I am concerned, and I spoke with Mr. Thames about this, we have not received a no trespass in the mail. However, if it's been stated, if council directs me to, I think it's appropriate, because we do have council members and staff, lots of different staff for different reasons that frequent there, to get clarity on Mr. Olson's intent to ensure that we don't violate what he desires
Right.
and put any of our employees or
I'll make a
connected.
motion to direct staff in that regard.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I will come back and let you know what I find out.
Thanks, and I believe that's everything on my laundry list. Sorry about that, folks.
No worries. Anything else? With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
You get to pick. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.